This is Engage New York, Module 1, Lesson 1, Concept Development. So let's begin really quick. Let's count and label how many tens are in each place value. So if you remember from kindergarten, you were always doing like 0 to hero. 0 to hero. I forget the song right now. But you used to always count to tens, right? On the calendar, you would put the little popsicle sticks or whatever, and you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you would bundle up 10 and you would move the 10 over, right? When it got to 10, you have to move it over, right? Are you yes or no? Show me with your fingers. Yes. Okay. So how many can you put in the ones column before you have to move it to the tens column? Show me with your fingers. So you can put 9 in here, but once you add one more, you have to move it over, right? So you can have 10 ones and it moves over, 10 tens and it moves over, right? Because 10 tens is 100, right? So each time the maximum you can fit in here is 9, and the moment you add one more, you have to bump it to the next place value, correct? Okay, that goes the same on this side, but they're just smaller pieces. So, problem 1. 10 100,000 divided by 10. So wait a minute. Let's see. Let's write something down. If you multiply any number, so you're writing this down on your notebook in your class notes. If you multiply by 10, 100, or 1,000, your number is going to get bigger because you're multiplying, right? You're multiplying. Anytime you multiply by 10, 100, or 1,000, your number gets either 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, or 1,000 times bigger. Now, if you divide by 10, 100, or 1,000, if multiplying your number gets bigger, show me with your finger, thumb up or thumbs down. What is going to happen with division? Is your number going to get bigger or is it going to get smaller? Good job. Your number is going to get smaller. It's going to get 10 times smaller, 100 times smaller, or 1,000 times smaller. So your number gets bigger. Your number gets smaller. So if you multiply by 10, 100, or 1,000, your number is going to get bigger, and it gets 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, or 1,000 times bigger. If you divide, it gets 10 times smaller, 100 times smaller, or 1,000 times smaller. All right, so based on your numbers are going to be moving in this direction if they're getting bigger. They're going to be moving in this direction to the right if they get smaller. All right, so 10 100,000s. So if I have 10 100,000s, that means I have 1 million. If I have 10 100,000s, remember we have to move it over. I have 1 million and I'm starting over. Now, if I divide by 10, how many zeros are right here? Show me with your fingers. How many zeros are right here? How many? Yep, everybody show me. How many zeros are right here? Show me with your finger. Raise a finger. Thank you. You're absolutely correct. There is 1. So guess what? We make this number smaller 1 time. We're going to move it over 1 place value. So here we go. 1 million divided by 10 is going to give us 100,000. And that looks like this. Okay. So I went from 1 million and I divided by 10. So I move it 1 time. If I have 2 zeros, I move it 2 times. If I have 3 zeros, I move it 3 times. So what I mean by that is if I'm dividing by 10, I move it once. If I divide by 100, I move it twice. If I divide by 1,000, I'm going to move it 3 times. Okay? Now, the same thing goes for multiplication. If I multiply by 10, I move the number this direction 1 time. If I multiply by 100, I move my number this direction 2 times. If I multiply by 1,000, I move my number 3 times in this direction, 3 place value places. All right, so if I have 1 million, so 10,000 is really 1 million divided by 10 gives me 100,000. Now, if I have 1 million and I divide by 10, that's the same thing. Now, if I have 100,000, so the idea is 100,000 is 1/10 as large as 1 million. So what I mean by that is, remember how I said when you're multiplying, it gets 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, or 1,000 times bigger? Well, when you divide, it becomes 1/10 smaller, 100th smaller, 1,000th smaller. As it moves across, it's like 1/10 smaller, 100th smaller, or 1,000th smaller. So 100,000 is 1/10 as large as 1 million. All right, now 100,000 divided by 10. If I have 100,000 and I divide by 10, I'm going to end up with what? Write it down on your page, and then I'll give you the answer and see if you get it right. Okay, did you guys write down? If I'm at 100,000 right here and I divide by 10, I'm going to end up with 1/10,000. Thumbs up or thumbs down? How did you do? Okay, we'll keep going. 1/10,000. So now what if I'm at 1/10,000 and I divide by, oh, I forgot to write 10. So now I'm here. I'm going to divide, so I'm going to make it smaller. I'm going to end up with 1,000. Because it moves 1 time, because I have a 10. I'm moving it 1 time to the left, to the right, because I'm dividing. Then I have 1,000. Now I'm at here, 1,000. And I divide by 10. I end up with what? 100. Okay? Here we go. Problem 2. Now, this time we're multiplying. So we're starting off here at 4/10. So this problem here, we're starting out at 0.4. right? Now we're multiplying, so it's getting 10 times bigger. So I'm moving my number one time. So now my number becomes 4. Now, if I scratch this out and I go, I'm going to go 0.04, 0.04. I'm multiplying, so my number is going to get 10 times bigger. So now it's moving here. So my new number is 0.4. Now this one, I'm going to move my decimal, and it's going to become, this number is going to get bigger, right? It's going to move one time. So if I have 0.004, let's see, now I'm going to change it. I'm going to move it here, and it's getting 10 times bigger. So it's 0.04. Hopefully you're starting to catch on here. So as you move, this tells you how many times you're going to move your decimal. So you're going to move your decimal, and you're going to end up with 0.3. This one is going to move 3 times. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So now I'm going to move my decimal 1, 2, 3, and my new number is 3. Then I have this number. I'm going to move my decimal 2 times. So I'm going to move it once, twice, and my new number is 30. Jacob, thank you. I'm watching you. Emmanuel, show me with your fingers. How many times is my decimal going to move? Thank you. Thank you, Jose. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Okay. Vic, I don't know if you're paying attention or if you're gaming. Are you paying attention? Are you with me? Okay, cool. David, it looks to me like you're playing and not actually writing. So unless you have a pencil in your hand and you're actually writing, you're not doing the right thing right now. Okay, last problem. Last problem. All right, 745 divided by 10. Remember, guys, that decimal point really does live right there. It's just invisible when it's a whole number. So my number is going to get bigger, greater. So my number is going to move in this direction, 74.5. This one is going to move twice, once, twice, 7.45. And then it's going to move 3 times, 1, 2, 3, 0.745. How did you guys do? Were you able to follow that? Okay. So now this is how
my internet was very laggy, and I was like scared because I might have
okay.
glitched out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so now we're done with the in-class notes. So put that away and take out problem set. Now the problem set goes along exactly with what we just did. So right now, problem set, we're going to go ahead and start problem set. Problem set begins with record the digits of the first factor on the top row of the place value chart. Draw arrows to show how the value of each digit changes when you multiply. Record the product on the second row of the place value chart. The first one has been done for you. So what that means is you take the original number and you put it on the top section. Then, depending on how your number is going to move, you're going to move it into the correct place values on the bottom section. Then what you do is you write the new number on the line. So let's do B together. So 3, here's 0.452, 452 thousandths. Now, How many times is this number going to get bigger? It's going to get bigger by 100 times. So the decimal is going to move how many times? 2 times. So I'm going to move my 3 once, twice. I'm going to move my 4 once, twice. I'm going to move my 5 once, twice. And I'm going to move my 2 once, twice. So my new number is 345.2. Make sense? So this next part is very important. Explain how and why the value of the 5 changed in A, B, and C. So how you explain it is you reference how many times it got bigger. So the 5 in A got so many times bigger. The 5 in B got so many times bigger. The 5 in C got so many times bigger. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. On problem set, on number 2, you're going to follow the same format that we just did on the front page. On problem set on number 3, it's a word problem. A manufacturer made 7,234 boxes of coffee stirrers, like the little stirrers. Each box contains 1,000 stirrers. How many stirrers did they make? So if you have this number times this number, right? Then you're going to try your best to solve for, and here's your exit ticket to prove that you understand. So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do as much as you can. I want you to try each problem in the next 10 minutes, and then I'm going to do a debrief and show you what to do. I'm going to show you the answers.